being a goddamn bloody adult.
You sit down, Buffett. This is cold. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
The Houses of Parliament are where life-changing laws are passed, and they're home to a bit of drama. The system can be a little bit complicated, but it affects your life in a really massive way. So how does it do that? There are two houses. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up. The House of Representatives is imaginatively called the lower house. The lower house is important because it decides who's in government. So basically, who's in power. It's where history is made. And where politicians wheel and deal so their party can run the country. How good is this? Everyone's learning. This is great. And in the lower house, you'll find two of the most powerful people in the country, the opposition leader and the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is basically Parliament's top dog. They get to choose who becomes a minister, so who's making really high-level decisions about things like the environment, tax, welfare and defence. But most importantly, they set their government's agenda and what their priorities are. The opposition leader is essentially the wannabe Prime Minister. They lead the party that lost the last election. While the Prime Minister and the opposition leader are leaders of their parties, we don't actually select them. They're selected by their party. Like all other politicians in the lower house, they're actually a local member first. But what kind of a job is that exactly? So that means they represent an electorate, i.e. a seat. And those seats are made up of around 110,000 voters, all living in the same area. When you vote at the election, you'll vote for which party and who you want to represent your electorate in the lower house. The lower house is made up of 151 seats, one for each electorate in the country. Sometimes a party can get over the line and win a majority of those 151 seats. Quick maths, that's 76. But sometimes they need to band with another party to get there, and that's called being in a coalition. The most famous one is between the two biggest Conservative parties, the Liberals and the Nationals. They've been together for more than 75 years. Having a majority makes it a lot easier to get bills through. I don't know why we call them bills and not just draft laws. That would make much more sense. Bills become laws, which literally affect us every single day if they make it through both houses of Parliament. So let's level up to the Senate. Yay! The Senate is the upper house of Parliament, designed to be a house of review, basically designed to keep the government in check. It can amend or change the bills from the lower house. Just like in the lower house, it's a lot easier to get your bills through and on their way to becoming law if you have a majority. The thing is though, that hardly ever happens in the Senate. But that's kind of the point. The whole idea of the Senate is that the government can't just pass whatever it wants without scrutiny. What a noble idea. The thing is, a hell of a lot of wheeling and dealing goes on in the Senate. That's because the government is relying on the crossbench, so politicians that are just doing their own thing or are part of the minor parties, or the opposition to vote with them to get any legislation through. So they're always negotiating. There have been plenty of times when the opposition, the minor parties or independents have basically compromised, voting something through to get something they want in return.
I put up to the government a proposal to work with me to secure my support.
Once a bill has made it through both houses of Parliament, there's just one more step. I forgot it. The Governor-General, who represents the Crown in Australia, has to sign off on it, and then it becomes law. And that could be the difference between how much you pay to go to uni, or how long the line at the hospital is, or even who you get to marry.